Mhm.
Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we help families simplify the college planning process. My name's Kristin Clark. I'm with collegeplanningsuntangled.com, and we're here with Bobby Hood. And his company is Bobby Hood Online Tutoring. Bobby, how are you doing today?
Oh, just great. I'm like hearing all the families start either, doing their college admissions stuff, right? Or getting ready for senior year or junior year, and people getting students off, moved into college and all that. So it's a very exciting time of year.
Yes, it's happening. I'm feeling the buzz as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So today we have a little bit of a different topic, but we
Yeah.
wanted to talk about what you're not and why it matters. And here's kind of what I see happen sometimes, Bobby, with the teens that you and I work with. They
Mhm.
get stuck. They get stuck on trying to think about the future, and this is a technique that really helps them kind of get unstuck.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's helping them think about all the things that they know they're not and what they
Mhm.
don't want to be.
It's such an interesting thing because I think people are pressured to like be everything and do everything and be good at everything, right? And yeah, it took me forever to understand this idea of, I mean, I still talk about it constantly. Like that I had to understand that there were some things I didn't like doing or that I wasn't, right? Like, I
Well,
mean, it's silly. Like I'm not an early morning person, right? And I felt guilty about that for years, But now I've found a career where I, tutor and I work in the afternoons and evenings, and that's better for my mentality. It's interesting.
absolutely. Well, I've even heard you talk many times on here
Mhm.
about when you get a student for
Mhm.
SAT and ACT tutoring, and they may not be the math guy,
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
and how you help tutor them through that.
Absolutely. I mean, see, that's part of the thing is like once I started understanding this and embracing my strengths and embracing what my strengths aren't, right? Like I do help students with college admissions, but I said I am not a full college admissions person. I might help someone with essays, but my strength is SAT and ACT and LSAT and GMAT, those things. And I want to focus on that because that's what I am. And knowing that, I'm not a full college admissions person, that I don't want to be that. Right. And it's the same thing with students is they'll come in and they'll say, well, I don't know if I can do well on this because I'm not good at math. And I say, well, hey, on the ACT, on the SAT, math is half the test, but on the ACT, math is just 1/4 of the test. And you can go maximize the other things. And you might think science is like math, but science isn't like math. It's like reading. And so when you realize, oh, I can do really well on the reading and the English. Well, great. Then science goes with that. And you can go get great scores on that and average in a lower math score, and it doesn't matter. And you can get that 30 or that 28 or whatever. You can, when I talk about that, like, hey, if you want to get a 28, you can get 331s and a 24, and that's
Well, that's just and really what you're talking to them about is leaning into those things that they do well and
absolutely.
accepting the fact that, hey, there are certain things that I'm not, and I'm not going to be that, and that's
Well,
okay.
absolutely, because students come in and they say, hey, okay, so I've got, 3 28s and my math scores a 22. So I want to really work on math and get math up. And I'm like, okay, no, I do not want you to do that. I want you to take those 28s or whatever and take those to be 33s. And yeah, we're going to work on math too, but I do not want you to spend all your time on math. I want you to spend the most time at first getting everything else to its maximum because those are your skills. Let's get those up. And then, yeah, let's not say that you have to like fix your one lowest score, right?
Right. Again, it's
Yeah.
understanding what you're not good at, leaning into those things you are. And I'll tell you,
Yeah.
the work that
Yep.
sometimes you get stuck
Yep. Mhm.
on, I don't know what I should be.
Yeah.
So to help them get unstuck, we kind of do the process of elimination and say, what do we know you don't want to do?
Absolutely. This is so fascinating that like for, figuring out what you might want to major in, what your strengths are, that you would start with, okay, you don't have to tell me you don't have to know your one strength. Let's eliminate some things, right? And you say, okay, well, I don't want to do that. Like, I mean, if I could go back and say it, one of the things I would start by saying is like, I don't think I want to sit in a cubicle, you know? And I think a lot of people feel that way, but there are a lot of jobs that are jobs where you need to do that, but there are a lot where you don't. And if you were to know that, I didn't know that when I was in high school. If I knew that, if I could figure that out, have the courage to like say it. And that's what you're helping students do. So that actually does really help along in the process. I want to hear more about
Yeah, and that's funny you use that word courage.
that. Mhm.
And it really kind of helps them get that, like, build up that courage for them to say, "You know what? I don't want to work with old people, Kristen." And you go, "That's fine. That's going to take a lot of stuff off the list, right?"
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it starts to build that confidence of,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, hold on. You know what else I don't want to do?" And they tell me, and I'm like, "That's awesome. Take it off the list." Right?
Oh, wow.
But then what happens is then they'll pick up on something that they're like, "But I know I wanna make a lot of money." I'm like, "That's good. Put that on the pro
Right.
side. That's what you want.
Yeah.
We gotta
Right.
keep that in mind."
Yeah. So yeah, I
So
don't want to work in a job that is very hard to make a living. Whereas there are other students who are like, I don't care about money. I want to do something that's meaningful. I want to make art. I want to whatever, and as long as it's meaningful, I don't care about that. There are plenty of people on that side too. So that is part of that, right?
there are, and I love that there's an opportunity to just get the conversation started.
Right.
One of the things that I talk about even in my own business and what brings clarity, and I think it brings clarity to what I do is I'm not a college counselor. I
Right.
don't help people do applications and filling out forms and all that stuff. I don't
Hmm.
help them with essays. On the career side, I don't help them get a job.
Right.
What I
Yeah.
do is what's in the middle, and that's to
Hmm.
help them understand what it is that they're interested in doing as far as a career and why, and what's gonna make them shine and make them happy.
Well,
So, by me
yeah.
giving that clarification to people about what I don't do,
Hmm.
they kinda go, "Oh, Kristen, okay, I know what you do now."
Absolutely. And that's what's so interesting is that like this has been this missing piece from like it's a niche doesn't that not very many people do. And it is that missing thing that like you can go get a job that you hate because you didn't understand what you wanted to do. I did that forever, right? You can go get into a college because it had a good football team or a lot of people you knew were going there and then realize it doesn't have the major that you want to do, right? And then you have to transfer schools and then suddenly it's going to take you 5 years to graduate, right?
Yeah, and I can't tell you how
You need
many
this.
times, Bobby, that I've talked to a student, a teen or a young adult, and we talk about a job and they're like, "Yeah, that doesn't sound like it will completely suck." And I'm like, "Okay, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get
Right.
into something that you really have, some interest in and some passion in, and you have that choice."
Right.
And
But
I think
sometimes starting with okay, well that wouldn't be terrible. Okay, we're getting somewhere, right?
right, it's directional for sure.
Right.
Um, but again, it's then what piece of that
Mhm.
don't you like?
Yeah, right,
What
exactly. What are the parts that would suck about that? And then let's okay.
Yeah,
So now let's redirect and go there. It's really interesting when the more I think about this, the more things come to mind, right? Like I mean with students too, like students get so stressed about tests. And part of their stress is, oh my gosh, I don't think I can get all the way to the end and do all those math questions at the end that are so hard. And I say, look, if you come to a question wherever it is on the test and you can't do it, you can choose to be stressed and freaked out because you can't do that question. Or you can laugh and say, well, I'm not going to get that question right, but I'm going to get a bunch of other questions right. So I'm going to go do them. Right. But that is saying to yourself, oh, that question is not for me. Right. And let's go find a question that is for me. And I can go and that's what I say so often to the students, right? Which is your goal is not to get all the questions right on the test. Your goal is to get right the questions that your experience and education and past have prepared you well to answer and get correct. The questions you're supposed to get right based on your education, your GPA, and all that. If you get those questions right, then you should be happy with and proud of the score that because it represents you, right? Now, if I can also show you some things where you're going to get some questions right that you weren't supposed to get right, I mean that's kind of fun too, right? But the point is not everybody needs to be good at everything. Everybody needs to get every question right on the test. And if you laugh at the question and say, "Well, guess I'm not going to get that one right," then you are less stressed because you're like, "Okay, whatever. I wasn't planning to get every question right on this test. That's one of the ones I'm not going to get right. Okay, cool." Right? And that
yeah,
is it's just such a it's an attitude. It's the attitude you choose. And it sounds like the same thing with like choosing a career. It's like, okay, I don't have to figure out my exact job I'm going to have 10 years from now. I need to figure out what I don't like and what I do like and what I'm good at and what's going to fill me with passion. Right. And that's so important.
Yeah,
Right. And
and then just get out and try stuff, and I'll go back to Bobby, then it's also and, as I always talk about
mhm,
getting into the pie shape,
yeah.
once you get into this one area that you're like, "Okay, this I'm in the right area,"
Yeah.
now you get to keep going down that process and going, "Ooh, I really liked what that was about,"
Right.
or, "I really didn't like what that was about," and now you make adjustments.
Oh, yeah, and so, okay, this is making more and more sense now, right? Because you it is hard to figure out exactly what you want and what your strengths are. But it is an easy way to start is like, okay, these are things that don't sound good to me. And you start knocking all that stuff out and you say, okay, now we've narrowed it down to this direction. And then, yeah, now you try stuff and you go learn more about yourself. But now you're going in the direction of those careers that you would enjoy.
Yeah, so think
Yeah,
about
that's fascinating.
when you get to college, now you try different classes out within that
Mhm.
area, and you can go, "Nope, that was definitely the wrong
Yeah.
thing, but you know what I liked about it is this, this, and this. What other
Mhm.
classes can I get more of that?
Oh,
What
yeah.
kind of internships can I get? What kind of jobs can I take during college to take that little pie shape?" And that starts getting narrower and narrower, and by the time you get out of college now,
Right.
you have a much clearer picture of what's the first job that I need to get out of college that's gonna even take me further.
Right. And as part of that process, like you don't know the answers to these questions when you first start, but then you start meeting other students who are doing the same thing. You talk to them and you meet older students who are near graduation and you start hearing about the jobs you get. You talk to your counselor at the school and you talk to the professors about the jobs that people get and you learn more and you hear from them and that's how you narrow these things down, right?
Yeah,
Is
and I'll tell you
by
even
finding
more
out.
importantly, you
Yeah.
talk to people that are already doing those types of jobs,
Oh, absolutely.
and you find out what they're like.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Right? Because, yeah, like, I mean, I was certainly was surprised to find out what being an accountant actually was, because it wasn't what a getting an accounting degree was. And the accounting degree really didn't tell you much about what the job was going to be. And
Right?
law is far different from what law school is,
And for and for our listeners,
and looks like you blanked out for a moment, but you'll be back in a
yeah,
second.
I'll
Okay. Oh, you're back now. Okay.
yeah.
So what you were saying is, yeah, for you were going to tell the listeners like what I'm saying there,
Yes, that you had all those jobs you're talking about,
right?
and had you gone out and talked to an expert and said, "Ooh, that doesn't sound like something I'm gonna like," you could have very easily bypassed that whole situation in your life.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I mean, it really is like, I mean, yeah, if the job had been what you do in school, then I would have liked it, right? But that's not what the job,
Not
But
reality.
it's so like the fact that I made those mistakes and had that confusion means everybody can have those mistakes and that confusion about any career, and uh so that is the thing is like people should not get so hung up on like I have already picked the job I'm going to have or whatever. It should be what are your strengths, what are your passions, what majors would be appropriate for that, and then actually getting out there and talking to people who actually do the jobs and finding out what it's really like, right?
I'll tell you, Bobby, one of the biggest realizations I had was when I took my Clifton Strengths Assessment,
Mhm.
and I looked at my strengths, I was really interested in that, but then I went down to the bottom of the list, and I realized all the strategic thinking type skills
Mhm.
were at the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
And a lot of people they go to the bottom of the list, they're like, "Oh, I'm not good at that, I need to get better at that." No,
Right. You're
not
like,
the
nope.
message. The message is, "Wow, I now know why I stink at this stuff. It's just not how I'm naturally built. But you know what? I got a whole bunch of people that I put around me that are really good at those things,
Yeah,
so I don't have to. So I get
absolutely.
to do the things that I do well every day, and those
Absolutely.
energize me. They make me happy, right? And yeah,
Yeah. Okay. And see, that's what I'm saying too, is that that's what I was saying. It's like, oh, these jobs aren't what I thought what they were. But specifically, those jobs required the pieces of the Clifton strengths that were at the bottom of my list. And the things that were at the top, which is information collecting and explaining things to people and all that, I thought that's what the job was, and it is not, right? The job is something completely different from that, right? And now my job is literally exactly information collecting, explaining that to people, writing and, you know, and writing about that, right? And that's exactly what my passions are, you know, and it changes everything.
It does,
It's
because you love your work.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
so fascinating, and the idea that this can all start if you feel stuck with, you know, think about who you aren't instead of having to just be focused on, okay, what are you going to be? Because that's what everybody says to the 17 and 18-year-old, right? What are you going to be? Right.
Yes.
And they don't know. And it's probably really stressful to get that question because they probably know some people are like, oh, I've got it figured out. I'm going to be this and this, you know.
Well, and you can be wrong, as you've
Sure.
proven
Oh,
time
yeah.
and time and time again.
Yep.
But when you go back to the parents, when you're asking your almost adult,
Hmm.
what do you want to do? Start with the question, what do you know you don't want to do?
Yeah.
And that, I promise you, is going to get them talking, because that's an easy question to answer.
Exactly. And it's kind of a fun question. Like it's this relieving and it's kind of funny to say, oh, I never want to do this. It's funny. And it's also kind of a relief for you, like, hey, okay, I don't want to do that. I don't have to do that. I can not do that. Right.
No, and I'll tell you what's even more fun, Bobby, is get a whiteboard or something
Hmm.
and just start marking them down and going, okay,
Yep.
look at all the progress we're making. We know all these things you don't want to do.
I love
And you're right, it
it's
can
so
be
funny.
fun. It's like, I don't wanna touch feet. I don't wanna touch feet. So
Hey,
there are a lot
that
of things
eliminates
that
some
I
things.
can't be if I don't wanna touch feet.
Right.
So, yeah,
Exactly.
so
So
it makes it fun.
that's really
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, absolutely. I think this is, I mean, it is wonderful when we hit on something like this that, like, I'm gonna need to think about this for a few more days now. It's such a great thing
It's
to think
simple
about.
but powerful, and
Yeah,
I think that's, again, it goes along with us trying to simplify this process for parents
absolutely.
and families, and it's
Right.
like, "Guys, let's take the stress out of this,
And
and
that
make it
is,
fun."
yeah, because the question of like, hey, what are you gonna major in? That's stressful. But hey, what do you not want to do? That is a simplify, that is absolutely right in the idea of simplifying things. And just here's a simple question you can ask that will de-stress that process a little bit. Because for
Yeah.
those rising juniors, it's time to start having that conversation, right? And rising seniors, they got to say things about it in their essays and stuff, and so it's time to have that talk. And you know, it's time if they're stuck on it and that sort of thing. It is time for them to call you. I know that,
And
right?
you know what, Bobby? I just came up with a great essay topic, and
Oh
that
yeah,
is, well, I figured what I wanted to do when I realized I didn't want to touch feet.
right. Hey, no, seriously. I
Yeah.
mean, that format for an essay would actually be of any type. Like, I am not this would actually be a really really good essay.
Yeah.
You know, because it would lead right into what I am, and yeah, it'd be a nice structure because that tells things about a person. Knowing what they know for sure that they don't want to do does tell you a lot about a person. Ah, that's great. Well, I love this. I think we need to, like, I'm going to start asking my students, some specific questions about this and see what kind of things I hear. I think it'll be fascinating.
All right.
Very cool. All
We'll
right.
see you
Well, this
next
is
week.
great. Yeah, absolutely. Have a great week. I'll talk to you next time.